following is a production of cprundown.com. The views and opinions expressed by the hosts of this podcast are those of the individual and not of any affiliated companies. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rundown on Fun, a weekly podcast covering the Six Flags Entertainment Corporation, the amusement industry, and everything to do with fun. Here are your hosts, Carsten Anderson, Evan Schultz, and Kyle Hu.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Rundown on Fun, a weekly podcast where we cover the Six Flags Entertainment Corporation, Cedar Point, the amusement industry, and everything to do with fun. Boom. I got that intro down, man.
That's boom, baby. That's perfect. That's like right to the T. I love it.
I don't know if you can tell already this early into the episode, but I got a little pep in my step today. I'm excited to talk. Not only because I got to do something really cool, but also Kings Island's open. The parks are starting to open. I have a CoasterMania ticket in my wallet.
Woo.
I have a room at Breakers booked. I'm pumped. Let's jump into this week.
Yeah, you're just like let's aka let's get ready to go, like that, quote unquote what the park said a few weeks ago on the teaser for Top Thrill 2. But yeah, let's just jump right in. So unfortunately Evan is not here. He's currently at a hockey game, and go Monsters, and he's a huge hockey fan and stuff and everything. So shout out to him. But anyway, yeah, so there was a ton of news. Like I was like, wow, things were just dropping. So first, Winter Chill Out.
Not Winter Chill Out.
CoasterMania tickets finally went on sale, and they sold out very quickly.
Yeah, this seems like a very, very fast sellout year. And I know I was asking you guys, but I mean, it was like what? Like they made the announcement at like 45 minutes, but people were saying they went on sale at 10 a.m. As we're recording today on Thursday. And I mean, I saw people saying at 10:15 that they couldn't get tickets. And
it was quick. It was really, really quick.
I mean,
I was going to say, do you want me to run through the event? Well, we can go in depth like in a later episode, but just saying the ERT is just absolute bomb fire. Like, first of all, we've got ERT on Millennium Force in the morning, ERT on Iron Dragon, Gatekeeper, all in the morning. And then also they do list Siren's Curse possibly being open-ish. It does say that while an official opening date has not yet been set, it is included in the CoasterMania lineup, which is really cool.
That has me like exponentially jazzed. More excited than I was for CoasterMania originally. Not that I wasn't excited.
Right.
But something tells me that if they're confident enough to put this thing on an ERT list, that they're at least halfway confident that it'll be open.
Right. Hopefully all the weather stays, like good, and there's not like any hiccups in whatever testing that they need to do and stuff and everything. But, and then we've got, Blue Streak, and then we've got Valraven and Raptor. This is all in the morning, by the way. This is everything that I'm listing off is just all in the morning. And then we get I'm sorry, Kyle, you're probably a little bummed, but we're not getting any poster this year. It doesn't list a poster. It says you're going to get a t-shirt. So
I actually am a little bummed about that, but you know what? If Top Thrill 2 and Siren's Curse are both open and I get 2 new credits on CoasterMania Day, I'll forgive them.
And then obviously Millennium Force is turning 25 this year. There's gonna be a sweet behind the scenes op for taking pictures and things like that there. And then obviously the dinner, and then night times where it's really, really I'm so pumped. So you get your ERT on Magnum, love that, great. And then it's like all bets are off. So we've got ERT on we got ERT at night on Top Thrill 2. We got ERT on Steel Vengeance, ERT again on Siren's Curse. So, oh my gosh, please play to the coaster gods that everything goes really well, because ERT in the morning and also at night, like, oh my gosh, the lights and just everything. And then ERT on Maverick. So, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, ERT on Maverick, that's enough to get me to the park just by itself. I mean, Maverick is one of my favorite coasters. But I mean, Not that last year was just a disappointment by any means, but it was a little bit of a downer not having Top Thrill 2 last year. But I mean, if they can get Top Thrill 2 and Siren's Curse this year, all is forgiven in my eyes.
Right? I mean,
all
you just listen to that list of all the ERT, and it's just like, whoa, and it's really good to now. Obviously, we just got to read the tea leaves, and everything has been pointing towards Top Thrill 2 opening. And I just feel like, I don't know for sure, but this is pretty late in the year for them to like release the itinerary and have tickets. I feel like go on sale. Maybe it's not late. Maybe I'm just super jazzed and excited, but I feel like maybe the park was possibly just waiting just to get like a green light saying, hey, yeah, Top Thrill 2, we're good to go. Put it on the list because it's good, And so we haven't heard anything bad come out of the park. It'd be really nice if maybe within the next few days or something, the park maybe releases something and says, hey, Top Thrill 2, they don't even have to say like it's going to be open. They could just be like, come ride all our rides, including Top Thrill 2, and check out the brand new Siren's Curse Midway, and just whatever. And I'd be like, dude. But yeah, I mean, speaking of that, I've been seeing a ton of rides test. I mean, if we do we're not sure when we're going to release this, but currently we've got 9 days. We're recording on a Thursday night, but if it is recorded or released on a Saturday, we've got 1 week, my friend, until this park is open for business for the 2025 season. And it's great to see. I got to see a Rougarou test today. I got to see Maverick test. I got to see Skyride test. Gatekeepers going. Like, I mean, we've got like a week until the park opens. The only thing I'm real sad about, and I'm sure Justin, when he's listening to this, will probably definitely get a kick out of it. The gondolas are currently not on the giant wheel just yet. So I'm like, I want to ride that. I want to get pictures of everything and of up there and stuff and whatever, as long as it's still like how the rules have been previous and stuff. But although they did actually, if you look at the webcam, I definitely encourage anybody that's just got crazy FOMO that's just like, oh, I really want, is to check out the webcams during the day, because you'll see a bunch of testing, and then obviously at night when the park is starting to come back alive, they're starting to turn on areas of the park that have been off like all season and stuff. It is a little bit of a nerd comment. Is I know previous off seasons when the park was in like their actual off season, a lot of the lights in the midways and in the areas and things like that would always be just turned off. It'd be really, really dark, besides like, some security lights and, having some lights here on and here, there and everything, but just not like the normal midway lights. Well, I did notice last off season, they did replace a lot of the midway lights with some brand new LED lights. And I'm like, ooh. And I have been noticing during the off season, I don't even know how I didn't mention this, but they actually have been keeping a lot of the midway lights on, not like full blown midway lights and not like ride lights and stuff, but they have been keeping a lot of those lights on in the off season. So it's been cool to see, kind of like, oh, you can still see like the midway and stuff and everything like that. So it's like LED lights. I'm sure it's like super, super cheap to like run those, just because, I mean, they're LED lights and it's like dimes on a, you probably could throw like 17 dimes on, for like 5 minutes or something like that, if that. So they're super cheap to run, which is cool. Giant wheel lighting. I know the gondolas were missing, but last night, which was Wednesday, they actually turned on the giant wheel lights. And I remember when they turned them on last year, they had the Halloween theme, I guess you could say, still on it. You could see the boo and whatever. I'm happy to say that this year they figured out the switch for summer, because you could see the summer lights with the smiley face and the whole 9 yards. And I might have, been doing that, but I'm just kind of waiting for Millennium Force's Lift Hill lights, because we did get to see it at Winter Chill Out. With the new lights that they reconditioned or refurbished or whatever, and those were definitely super, super bright, to where they were like not the original lights, but they're the lights that, like, when Cedar Point installed them probably maybe almost 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that. They were just super bright and they looked really, really good. And obviously over the years, the lights start faltering and they get just kind of, liquidy and whatever kind of thing. But I'm so pumped. And like I said, like we're really, really close to opening day. We just got one more week to officially kick this season off. And here's a little nugget. And this will be I'm not gonna say anything on the page. So this is exclusive. I bought a hotel room for Hotel Breakers on Friday night, early Friday night. So I will be at the park Friday night, the Friday night before opening day, because you can stay obviously the night before. I will be staying at Hotel Breakers, so I plan on getting a bunch of pictures of the new road and of like everything that what it looks like and so on and so forth, and maybe doing a live and whatever. But yeah, you're hearing it first exclusively here on the podcast that I will be staying actually overnight. You could thank Justin for putting a little heat under my ass and saying, "Come on, you should do it. It'd be fun." I'm like, "Well, all right."
You're staying. You're staying during CoasterMania with Justin and me, right? I mean, we're not all staying together. We're all in separate rooms, but you'll be there that night as well.
Yes. Yep. I will be. Nice. I'm just gonna stay one night because I was like, I don't need to stay the 2 nights. But yeah, they also, like, on the CoasterMania page, if you haven't booked yet and you have tickets, you can go down below and stay pretty cheap per se, where it says you can stay at Cedar Point Express Hotel starting at $89 a night, which is freaking phenomenal. That's just the one that's down the road from where is it, by the Dairy Queen area.
Yeah, by Dairy Queen, McDonald's, by Commons, the employee dorms. It's just right off Point.
Yeah, it's not far at all. Or you could stay at Hotel Breakers starting at $199 a night, which is literally on the actual property.
Yep.
You can walk to your room and then kind of hang out.
It is worth noting too that if you had already booked your room like I had, you can call the hotel and readjust your rates with the CoasterMania promo code.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that. That's great. As long as the promo code hasn't sold out yet. So
yeah, I guess that's inventory based, but I called and I was able to save a pretty good chunk of cash.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really, really cool. And then the last one is the Lighthouse Point. You can stay in one of the awesome, cool cabins over there by the campground area in the back of the park where Magnum goes around, and you can listen to Steel Vengeance test super early in the morning.
I have
$199, starting at $199 a night. So
when I was growing up, Carsten, every year we would stay at Cedar Point for the week of the 4th of July. We'd show up on like the 1st and we'd leave on like the 5th or the 6th, and we'd camp at Camper Village. And it was always fun when I was growing up. Obviously a good chunk of the campsites are over by Steel Vengeance's turnaround, or but back then it was Mean Streak. Mm-hmm. And you could always tell when the park closed for the night, because that was just the loudest damn coaster to be camping under. And then sure enough, like 12:30, 1 a.m. would roll around and it would just stop. And you'd be like, well, I guess the park's closed tonight. But if you stayed over on that side, you could hear Mean Streak really well. And if you stayed on the other side, you could hear Magnum's pretzel loop turnaround trim brakes. You could hear them engage. Like the rapid succession. Yeah. It was always pretty fun growing up listening to it.
That's cool. Yeah. I like that. All right. That's cool. I like to, it's funny you say that. I like to just venture out and listen to just, especially like either when the park's closed or if the park is open, but like you can kind of venture out down the path and not get attacked by birds over by the Magnum pretzel turnaround and stuff, and you can just walk around the park and everything. and just listen to the little things and stuff. Like, yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Like listen to like the lift hills, like ramping up or engaging, or the anti rollbacks or whatever. That's cool. All right. I'll have to make a note of that and walk over there and listen to that and be really nerdy. And maybe I'll get I'll bring my really professional microphone and see if I can pick it up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Magnum's, the campsites over there are unchanged. I mean, it's worth noting I haven't camped at Cedar Point in probably 8 or 9 years.
Okay.
So I don't know how Steel Vengeance sounds back there. I'd imagine it's a little bit quieter.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's a loud lift hill, so I bet you could hear the lift hill.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can definitely hear the lift hill for sure. And then also they've got a really nice like area that you can, like a little boardwalk over there where those cabins are and stuff, and you can get some really cool pictures from like obviously like a boardwalk with some water and everything. And that's kind of like a little known secret that actually got wrecked a few years ago when we had like a crazy storm and stuff, and it peeled up all the wood and everything up there, but they fixed it up real nice and everything. Speaking of, we're just going to jump right in to some more news. The park actually came out and said that Chickies and Pete's, I know, Kyle, your favorite place for crab fries, and we kind of knew the writing was on the wall, and I think we kind of said something about it when we were talking about Winter Chill Out. But Chickies and Pete's is no longer coming back to Cedar Point. So
how long? You know off the top of your head how many seasons it was at the park?
You know, I believe it was. I did a post because I was like, "Oh, R.I.P. Chickies and Pete's." If you talk, I will find that out.
Well, I was gonna say, granted, I don't eat at the park very much, but when I was younger, I did. You know, when I was younger, I had the season pass meal plan and everything, and Chickies and Pete's was on the meal plan for a couple seasons, if I remember right. Yeah. I in the entire time that Chickies and Pete's was at Cedar Point, I ate there twice.
I see. I liked Chickies and Pete's because, like, I was sad when like that was like Game Day Grill before Chickies and Pete's, which was like kind of like Cedar Point spin on like just having a giant bar /
like a sports bar
area for food, and you'd have TVs and stuff and whatever. So hopefully maybe they're going to go back to that or something, because the park did say that I think WKYC broke the news or something, and they were like, hey, so anything going in that area? And Tony's like, no. I'm like, goodness, we've got nothing going in the Chickies and Pete's area. We've got nothing going in the location for Famous Dave's that's over there in the marina area. Like, oh my goodness. Like, So by the way, Chickies and Pete's came in 2014, and then obviously last year was 2024. So 10 years.
That's Chickies right. I remember I didn't go, but Pipe Screams Media Day, I remember part of that was the crab fries.
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
I'm sure you probably went, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. We actually have, if anybody wants to search our CP Rundown YouTube page way back in the day, you can see myself and I believe Shelly. We have actual POV of us riding Pipe Scream on ride video and stuff, whatever. So
I think I've seen that before, and I think you're rocking the beard still.
I probably, that's. But yeah, so bummer about that, and I'm just kind of, like I said, I'm kind of bummed. All these these areas of like food areas are just not returning and stuff, which either could be like, hey, we're gonna come out with something in the fall, or maybe next year. I know like everyone's like, oh yeah, Cedar Point just builds restaurants, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, they've been taking a lot of them out, and they're not replacing them either. I don't know if it's like a staffing issue. Then they're just like, but like
the two biggest ones that come to mind for me are a Melt, obviously, and I mean Melt is connected to the main kitchen at Cedar Point. So and there's offices and stuff back there, and I could see them expanding the kitchen and kind of cannibalizing the Melt dining area, if you will. Maybe not, but I could see it happening. And also I could kind of see the same thing happening to Chickies and Pete's with how close that restaurant is to the Park Services warehouse.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not really gonna miss chain restaurants in the park, especially with the great strides that Cedar Point has made in the past like 5-ish years on food.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what they could do with 2 sit-down, full-service capable restaurants. I guess time will tell on that one, but I mean, in the meantime, there's still plenty of places to eat.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There really, really is. It's just kind of like a bummer that we just lost another one, and just like, well,
Yeah,
those crab fries are really good, like for real.
I don't, like you said, I don't know if it's a staffing thing or if it's they don't want to pay the licensing fees anymore and they're trying to get chain restaurants out. I mean, it could be anything.
And then speaking of chain restaurants, I mean, they did when Tony was talking about it to WKYC, he was actually said, Fridays at Hotel Breakers is returning. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool.
Interesting.
And then obviously they still have the Perkins, that's a chain restaurant, and then they've got the Hibachi.
Yeah, that Tomo, is that their own creation, or is that like, probably not, right?
I don't think so.
I don't
that
think
was
it is
before
either.
Like Cedar Point started getting
yeah you're probably right
into the food.
Interesting.
And everything. But yeah, so I mean, we've got a little left. I mean, they also, and if you think about it too, I think they own it and operate it, or maybe they just operate it, I don't know, but they've got the Dairy Queen over there, over next to Express Hotel, where
this is
there's that.
This is gonna show my ignorance to the park food options these days, and it might have to you might have to take away my host status on this podcast. But is there still a Chick-fil-A in the park?
No, that's gone.
The last year I worked at the park, there was still a Chick-fil-A, and I don't think I've been back to that specific restaurant since then.
Yeah, no, I don't. I want to say it's been gone for at least 2 years, maybe 3. The years just kind of blend together. But yeah, that's like what is it? Frontier Inn is what they call it. So
it went from Frontier Inn to Chick-fil-A to something like Frontier Inn back to Chick-fil-A, and now it's Frontier Inn again for like the third time.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't normally like eat there per se. I normally just go to the. I mean, I know what food to get and so on and so forth. So I'm just like, I
was just curious because I know that they got rid of the Subways. I know there's no more Subways at the park. I was just the only one I really couldn't remember was Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. That's a bummer for sure. Yeah. But yeah, so like I said, bummer on that going away, but you know what? Gotta change with the times, and maybe you know what? I wouldn't be real sad if like they decided to just get rid of, I don't know, Chickies and Pete's building, and they're like, oh, hey, by the way, here's a dark ride. Like, oh,
yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I didn't need a restaurant there anymore, So it's pretty, because you got to think that the Chickies and Pete's and also the Melt location, like the Melt location had like a huge bar.
Yeah.
Chickies and Pete's not so much. So like if you're going to get rid of one of them, maybe you get rid of, I know the Chickies and Pete's building is it's an old building. Like I remember there was like Silver Dollar Cafe. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get like in a touch with like way back and stuff and bring back some kind of chicken coop or chicken whatever, because people were talking about that when they announced it or whatever. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have on Cedar Point. Super excited for the season to get started, and real quick, haven't said this yet. I did schedule the opening day group photo a few days ago. Go check it out on our Facebook page, because it might be a little confusing on talking about where we're going to take the photo. I don't know what the midway looks like currently right now, where Siren's Curse is. I know that, if everyone remembers where we took our photo last year, it was pretty much in front of the wall. I don't know what's going to be open around in that area, and I don't know like whereabouts we can possibly do this photo. So what I'm having everybody do is pretty much just meeting right in front of the restroom. Like I was like, okay, the restroom staying. So right in front of like the restroom area, right where the little, I guess, area where the train is, like not into the train station, but like right outside of the train station is where we're going to meet. And then I will try to figure out a photo spot. And if anything changes, make sure you follow that event page. I will change the photo and whatever. But there's a photo with a circle and an arrow of what I'm talking about. If anyone's confused, make sure you come on out. Everybody's welcome. You don't even have to follow the page. We just want to pack it out, and the weather's been great and stuff. So hopefully, the weather will be really good on opening day, and we can have like another. I know last fall we had like a record-setting amount of people that were at the group photo, and it's really cool to see it grow over the years and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
I don't think I've been in one since it was a closing day photo that was at Snake River Expedition.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
So
yeah.
maybe one of these years I'll make it for an opening or closing day photo.
Yeah. Right. We'll Photoshop you in. Well, hey, who was that guy?
Yeah.
He wasn't here. Why is he like 7 feet tall?
I will say that
photoshopping's not very good.
I will say that now traveling for CoasterMania so close to the beginning of the season, I think there's more of a chance I make it for a closing day photo than an opening day. But you never know. We'll see.
Fair. And then switching gears just a little bit, I'm going to touch just a little on it. I did go to Kings Island's opening day. That was phenomenal. Got to hang out with David, and also got to hang out with Haley and stuff. And a really cool dude. His name was Ethan. We literally met each other over. We were waiting for the Beast to open, and it was down. I don't know what was going on, but it was down for a little bit. Didn't open until probably maybe an hour or so after the park closed or open. I'm sorry. They were testing, and then all of a sudden there was like a crazy monsoon, rainstorm, thunderstorm, whatever happened. And then 15 minutes later, it was blue skies. It was the craziest thing ever. But anyway, so we met him, which was really cool. And I guess he was by himself, and he just kind of hung out the rest of the day with us, which was really cool because I was like alone, obviously. It was a group of 3. But anyway, so I got to ride the Beast. That's what I wanted to ride. And oh my gosh, Kyle.
Is it good?
It was amazing. Okay, so spoiler alert. Don't listen to this if you don't want to know. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to spill it right now. So first, the drop. As soon as you drop, you know how like you drop into brakes and stuff and everything, and you kind of feel like yourself
you like lurch forward a little bit.
Lurch forward.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That, I don't know if it's like officially gone. I saw it still on the hill. That was not on. You were dropping legit off of the drop. There was no give, no nothing. And I rode this thing like 5 or 6 times.
Was it cold by any chance?
It was not. It wasn't super cold. I think it was like 65, 70 degrees. Okay. It was a good clip. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all.
Yeah. Okay.
So then number 2, if you go down off of the drop and you're going in, and then all of a sudden you make the bank, or you go into the tunnel and then you make the bank to the left, right? Like how you have that cool airtime hill, but there was always that break there.
Yeah.
And it would be like, oh, kind of, and you'd like lurch forward again kind of thing.
Yep.
That, I'm happy to announce, is gone. There's no break there. There is nothing there. And you get some good pop of airtime, which is really good.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to segue into the next part of the ride with this. I think both our minds are probably going to the same place. For me, I never really sure, the trims on the first drop, it's a downer a little bit, but I never minded those too much. The ones that I really have a problem with are the ones on that straightaway. Are those still there?
The shed kind of thing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Yeah. So you got a really cool thing. And then, that's all retract, right? All brand new retract. It's like, holy crap, they did a lot. I mean, it's not just like the top track. It's like giant areas of the ride completely brand new wood. Like it's just like,
Jeez.
whoa. It's because you go flying into there and you could see that they reinforced that turn to the right as soon as you go like going into the brake shed, where you're just like and you're cooking along, and then all of a sudden you see like the giant thick supports and reinforcements and stuff and everything on that turn. They must have some issues with I'm sure that with the speed that was flying by. But yeah, so, and then after that, you go into the shed, right? Well, you have to remember that you are not getting trimmed on the lift hill or on the drop. You're not getting trimmed over that hill anymore after that and everything. So then you're going into the shed. At least currently, when I rode on opening day, the shed was aggressive. You did slow down a lot, but it wasn't a bad aggressive. It was pretty much like almost like the same amount, maybe a little less than aggressive before. And it didn't seem like it went on for as long, which was really cool. And then here's the weird part. So they redid all of the track and everything inside that tunnel. So you're done out of the shed and you're creaming down into the ravine, and then everybody knows what's next is the dark tunnel, right? Or maybe there's lights on it, whatever. So the tunnel got retracked, and I was talking with David and Haley about this, and it's just like it is a weird transition because you're going like, whoa, yeah, oh yeah, awesome. And then all of a sudden you go into that tunnel and then it's like smooth as glass. You're like on a brand new steel coaster. Like you're on, I don't know, Steel Vengeance, and it's like butter smooth inside the tunnel. And I was talking about it with David and Haley. I was like, it kind of is a little bit of a bummer. And now I know it's going to obviously pick up in intensity with like roughness and whatever as the season goes on a little bit. But it's like, I kind of liked the old shuffling back and forth where you're like sitting in your seat and getting shuffled a little back and forth, like left to right. And you're just like, whoa, not like aggressive, like, and not to where you're like, whoa, that was really intense where you got a headache kind of thing. But like, the beast, it's got to be, so butter smooth. I almost called it like it almost felt like it was like we're going like oh and then whoa again kind of thing. And I'm just trying to describe like what was going on the ride, and it was like I want to say it was like a 10 maybe 7-second commercial break for in my head or whatever. It's like, okay, and we're back, and then you go careening down after you get out of the tunnel and stuff and everything, and go down the ravine and then go up the second hill, and then obviously finish off with that. The amount of work that they did though on that ride, phenomenal. Like I said, I might be nitpicky. I can't wait for you guys to check it out during Coaster Stock and say, you know what, you're kind of onto something. Like I said, give it, let it break in a year or two, and it'll be back to a little bit of rickiness and stuff. But it just kind of felt like not meandering in the tunnel, but it was just kind of like, this doesn't feel like a wood coaster, or doesn't at least feel like the Beast coaster. Because at least in my head, I feel like the Beast should be a little aggressive and a little rickety, and it is a wood coaster and stuff. And then jumping onto that, the park operations, phenomenal. Everything was like running like at least 2 trains or so, and all the employees were like all fired up and ready to go. The park looked great. The food was really good. I got some burnt ends over at Coney Barbecue, I think is the restaurant name. And then I do have to say a real quick shout out to the security team for I don't know what it is, and I was talking with Evan, but there's like the certain teenagers that like to cause ruckus and whatever. But like, shout out to the Kings Island security team and everything, like the local authorities and whatever. There was like, we were walking down one of the midways, and there was pockets, and I told David and Haley, I'm like, you guys see the pockets of teens that are just sitting like boom, boom, boom. They're not sitting or standing, boom, boom. And there was probably like 9 to 11 different little pockets, and I go, And not that we were nervous or scared or anything, but Haley's like, wow, she's like, this is kind of a little intimidating over here. And it was like in the Coney Island area, like the mall area. And so I'm like, yeah. So we went over to, I think we rode like the Beast again or something and then walked back. And everything was completely different. Like you saw families walking around, you saw a lot of like security and staff all around, like on the midway and stuff and everything. And they just kind of corralled everything. And I don't know. I was talking this with Evan. I was like, maybe it's because like the malls, like the modern malls, are dying to where teens don't go there anymore and go and hang out with their friends and goof off and whatever. So maybe that's why they're starting to move over to like amusement parks and stuff. So that way they can like do whatever kind of thing. I don't know if that's the case. It is kind of it's a bummer, but it didn't really dampen our day. And like I said, the staff and everything did extremely well handling that situation. And but yeah, so then we finished off our night, made sure I rode a very, very dark ride on the Beast, and it was really, really crazy and intense, except for the tunnel part, which I was talking about.
So I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Did you get to experience Kings Island's newest coaster, the Queen City Stunt Coaster?
I did actually. Yeah. I totally forgot to talk about that. I mean, it's cool.
I mean, ride's completely the same, right?
Yeah. The ride's completely the same. They put some new paint, I believe, on the coaster trains and stuff, which was nice to see. They actually have Ohio license plates now instead of California, which is cool. And then obviously all of like the street signs and the billboards and everything or whatever, it just shows off like Cincinnati. It's cool. It doesn't change the ride.
Is there still
the helicopter wasn't working or anything, so I was like, well, I guess there's not like a ruckus going on in Cincinnati, you know. Like,
that's what I was gonna ask. Is the helicopter and the flame effect still there?
So the helicopter's still there, and the flame effect, I don't know. I don't know if like I said, it was opening day, so maybe not everything was like 100% going. But I mean, it's still there and stuff, so I would assume that they're gonna get that dialed in and still return that kind of thing. But I mean, it's like, oh, hey, look, there's a helicopter. Oh, it's in Cincinnati. Oh, that's, it's kind of weird. But yeah, so I don't know. They might just be like, oh yeah, we're just not going to do that anymore. But yeah, I rode a crap ton of rides. I think I did like it was so the day before opening day was like season pass preview day, and the weather was like super perfect that day, and I guess like everything had crazy lines. Everybody came out of the woodwork. Like it was very, very busy at Kings Island. But then I went obviously the next day on Saturday for opening day, and there was a big threat of rain, and it only rained during waiting for the Beast for like that 15 minutes. And after that, the rain stayed away, which was great. Like we didn't have to worry about anything. Got to ride a ton though. Got to ride Drop Tower. That was fun. It was really weird to see where the Ripcord ride used to be, right around the area. There's just a plot of like just land that's just chilling there. And I'm like, it's not a big chunk of land, but I'm like, you could fit a flat ride over there if you wanted to,
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have any more questions, feel free to ask, because I think that's pretty much it for my Kings Island experience.
Is Ripcord, or whatever they called it, Extreme Skyflyer? I think it was Extreme Skyflyer. Is that the only ride that Kings Island lost over the off season?
As far as I know, I believe so.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing anything that was missing.
Because I know Monsters closed, but it's going to reopen.
Right. Yeah, there was the fence over there, but they said that they ordered a part and they're still waiting on the part, kind of thing. So awesome. They said I think July is when it possibly will open back up or whatever. So
that I'm not jealous because I got to also do something cool this weekend. But you got to do a little bit of an epic adventure, huh? I miss Kings Island. Before I get into that, I can't wait to get back. Part, yeah. So I know. Well, first off, my birthday was yesterday. And
woo-hoo, happy birthday.
Thank you. And Dean and Abby, Dean was well, first of all, last weekend, Dean and Abby were in South Florida at Abby's family's place.
Okay.
And Ray was working. So I knew ahead of time that I was going to be alone over the weekend. I was like,
Ooh.
man, it's my birthday weekend. I mean, not really, but kind of like, I want to do something. So I was like, you know what I want to do? I want to go to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. That's what I want to do.
Okay.
And I was like, and I started looking at it. I was like, 12 hours with nobody else in the car. I don't think so. And I was like, well, what about Carowinds? Like, I haven't been there in years. I still don't have the I still don't have the Copperhead strike credit.
Wow.
I was like, well, that's just about as far. I mean, like, Busch Gardens Williamsburg is like 12 hours, 15 minutes. Carowinds is like 11 hours. So I was like, that's just as far. And I was like, well, I've never been to Six Flags over Georgia. That's close. And then I started looking, and hotels were stupid expensive. So anyway, I know last week I was talking high and mighty of I was going to wait to go to Epic Universe until I could go with somebody else. But let me tell you, buddy, I folded, and I went to Epic Universe on Sunday.
And you went by yourself?
I did. I went completely by myself.
I had no idea you were by yourself. Wow.
I was alone. Yeah, I went alone.
How was that?
You know,
was it weird to be by yourself? Like, I feel like I would want to, at least my first time, especially being at a park or whatever, I feel like I would want to, I don't know, share my thoughts and everything with whatever.
Yes. I don't mind going to parks alone. I go to parks alone quite a bit. I would have preferred to shared that first time experience with somebody, but that's just not how it played out. But
okay.
So disclaimer to everybody in the audience. I will not be spoiling anything about Epic Universe. I will just be talking about what I experienced. No spoilers, nothing like that. If even me talking about this makes you uncomfortable, please tune out right now, and we will talk to you next week.
Yeah.
I do not want to be responsible for feeling like I ruined this for anybody. Like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything, but just if it skeeves you out, get out right now. On my way to the park, Carsten, I was just sitting there. I was driving. I was doing my thing. It didn't really click in my head where I was going. I'm like, another day at the park, heading there. And I pulled in and I scanned my pass to park. And I was like, another day at the park. And then I parked and I got out of the car and I was like, oh my God, I'm at Epic Universe. At this point I called Ray. Because we've known about this park for like 10 years now, something crazy like
been
that.
Under construction for a while,
and while I've been excited and I've been anxious to watch this park come to life, I've never really allowed myself to get excited because, I mean, maybe that's the wrong phrase of words. I've never overhyped it because I was like, well, someday, right? We're still years away. Someday I'll get to go. Someday I'll get to go. And I think I was just stuck in that mentality that when I turned the car off and I got out, something just clicked and I realized where I was and I realized what I was about to do. And I just lost it. I was so damn excited. It's not often that I get to go to a new for me theme park at this stage, in this fandom. We know every damn thing about a park, even if we've never been there, or we've been there, or we're going. But it's never like I'm never giddy with excitement. Okay. But this is a brand new park, one of which I know no spoilers for. So I'll just walk through it a little bit. Walking up to the front gate, the reveal of the park is insane, and that's all I'll say about that.
Okay.
You can almost tell that how Horror Nights houses are all about that grand reveal.
Yes.
There are a lot of moments in this park where you get that grand reveal. It's very picturesque. It's very pretty. So the very first thing I did is walked up to the park, scanned in, and then the park opened at 11. So at this point it's like 10:58. And the Harry Potter ride, the battle for Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry, That is running on virtual queue right now. So the first thing I tried to do was get a virtual queue for that. I was successful. I did get one for 3 o'clock or like 3:30 or something like that. So that was the very first thing I did. And then I just kind of explored for a little bit. Celestial Park, kind of the main hub of the park, is beautiful. The fountains are great. The atmospheric ambiance is amazing. One thing I will tell you, though, it is going to be a rough park during the summer. There is no shade in Celestial Park. None whatsoever. You are out in the sun.
Well, I mean, it's going to probably take a few years, obviously, for the palm trees and whatever trees that they have growing to, grow up a lot bigger and give you more shade and stuff and everything. But
yep,
definitely pack the sunscreen for sure.
Pack the sunscreen, pack the water. You're going to be doing a lot of walking. First ride I went to was Stardust Racers. Insane.
Okay.
So good.
What's it ranked on your coaster ranking? Like, is it like top 5?
It is solidly in my top 5. I got 10 rides on it throughout the course of the day. I got 5 on each side because, Stardust Racers, it races. There's 2 sides. Right. There's a yellow side and a green side. So I rode 3 times on each side during the day and 2 times on each side at night. Much like you were talking about with the Beast earlier, Stardust Racers is a night ride. That ride is incredible at night. The lighting package on the train is great.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Can't say enough good things about that. For me, one of the best coasters. I mean, I just told you it was my top 5. But, this is a lot harder than I thought it was to not spoil anything. I won't. But there's so much I want to talk about. There's a few people at work who I've been kind of gushing with the past few days. But I've not had to restrain myself since actually the night I got home and I was talking to Dean and Abby.
Did the park feel bigger than what you thought it was, or did it feel smaller?
So originally, Celestial Park feels kind of small because the whole middle of Celestial Park is water that you can't access. Right. So originally when I got in the park, and also real quick, I knew nothing about the layout of this park. I didn't know where the portals were. I didn't know how to get around anywhere. I was just walking. And that was another thing I told Ray was, this is kind of funky that I don't know my way around here.
Right.
Celestial Park feels kind of small. While there are things to do, while there's restaurants and bars and there's entertainment, it feels like Universal doesn't really want you to hang out in Celestial Park all that much. It feels like they, left it a little small, a little empty to kind of get you to go into the other lands, the portals.
Okay.
But the portals themselves are big. Some are bigger than others, but yeah, it's a big park. I was there from 11 a.m. to about 9:30 p.m. and I clocked like 24,000 steps.
Wow.
Something like that. I mean, it's a hefty park.
Nice. Oh, I'm so glad that's finally open.
Yeah, it was really surreal to be there for the first time. I'll tell you that much. And I'm very excited. If I don't make it back there before the park officially opens, I'll be there on opening Sunday with Dean, Abby, and Ray. And I'm actually kind of glad that I went and had my fun, and now I can experience all of that through their eyes, and also that like I kind of know my way around, so we won't be as lost. Mm-hmm. The other thing
was
you
mentioned, the signage and everything really good to like find things since you didn't know your way around and whatever.
Yes, it was. You can't get lost. You can see the portals from everywhere.
Okay.
And they do a pretty big job, or a pretty good job, of when you get into the portals of funneling you towards the big marquee attraction. So like naturally you just end up there. The other thing I want to say before we get into the park anymore is, I don't know this for sure, but I know a few Universal team members, and it's been rumored that the attendance cap for the pass member previews are 8,000 during the week and 10,000 during the weekend.
Okay.
It surely did feel like about 10,000, and that's it, because there were times when I was in the park that I could not see any other guests.
Wow. Okay.
So next,
that's good to hear.
Yeah. So next I went to Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experience, which was the ride that I have been hyping up the most.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you, Karsten, I don't know how I'm talking to you right now because I left my jaw on the floor of that ride.
Really?
It is the single best dark ride I have ever been on in my entire life.
Oh my gosh.
The storytelling, the immersion, the special effects, animatronics, everything just comes together to, for lack of a better term, to tell this epic story. It is just so good. From the queue, the pre-shows, the actual experience, the ride system. I cannot say enough good things about this particular attraction.
Do you think it compares to anything at the like Universal or Islands of Adventure?
Yes, it does. You can compare it to Forbidden Journey.
Okay.
The ride system is very similar to Forbidden Journey.
Okay.
It's more comfortable.
Oh, that's cool.
It's more comfortable.
Okay.
But it's very, very similar to Forbidden Journey.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I tell you, I rode this thing for the first time. And there were not words in the English language to describe what that experience was. I mean, it was insane. I rode it for the first time. I got off and I went to the unload platform and I was walking out of the queue and one of the team members came up to me and they said, "Hey, there's no line. You want us to open the gate so you can just walk through and get right back on right now?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do. Let's go do it." So I went and did it.
That's awesome.
And then I did it a second time and it was just as good the second time. And I got off then and the gate was closed and there was no employees around. So I was like, well, okay, I'll go back out and I'll walk through the queue again. The queue is incredible. I mean, the queue is an attraction itself. Okay. And there was like a 25-minute line. And I was like, what did they mean there was nobody in line? Like, and then I remembered, oh yeah, this is preview. So they're still figuring out guest flow. They're still figuring out things like that.
Yeah.
So I went to a different ride.
Okay.
I went to the Curse of the Werewolf, which is a mock, not extreme spinner, not like what's at Silver Dollar City, but a mild spinner, if you will. It's a spinning family coaster. Solid, good theming. There's a surprise in the ride that I did not know about, and I thought something was going horribly wrong. And so for a second, I was like,
nice.
It also, I hate to say this, but it made me a little sick.
Oh.
I don't normally get sick on spinning rides, but it made me a little sick.
Yeah.
And then at this point, I went and got lunch, and I got lunch at one of the quick service restaurants in the park, Pizza Moon. If you've ever been to City Walk and you've had the really good pizza at the Red Oven, it's kind of like that.
Okay.
Really, really solid lunch. After that, let's see. I gotta keep track. So I've done Celestial Park and I've done Dark Universe. After that, I went to Nintendo.
Okay.
Now, Carson, you've been to Nintendo before in Hollywood, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, we have a few little extra surprises here in Orlando.
Okay.
First of all, it's laid out a little bit differently because it's not in the middle of LA,
and it's not jammed on top of something.
Yes. The one thing I was disappointed in is, all right, I'm going to go a little, not spoiler, but I'm going to say something. So if you don't want to hear anything about Nintendo, skip forward 30 seconds. In California, Karsten, I'm going to ask you, since you've been there, and I don't feel bad about this. Nintendo is kind of on two levels, right? There's like a top and a bottom.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think.
It is.
Something like that.
There's a top and a bottom in Orlando, and there doesn't need to be because...
Oh.
Yeah. That was a little... I was like, oh...
I wonder if maybe they're trying to I don't know, have different levels of that because you're in Nintendo and maybe something like that.
Yeah, granted, I mean, it was fine. It was still really, really cool. I was just like, it feels like it got copy and pasted from California, even though that our land layout is different and it didn't need to be copy and pasted.
Yeah. Did did you buy one of the
I did not buy a power-up band. I'll get into
No.
that later. I wanted to, but I'll tell you why I didn't. Let's
Okay.
talk about Mario Kart right now.
Yeah.
Super cool use of the technology, and that's all I'll say. Really solid ride, and I think a ride that is re-rideable because it can be different every time you do it.
Yes.
It's
I was gonna
really
say,
dependent on you.
walking through California's, I was like, dude, I felt like I was in like the Mario video game. I was like, what? I don't want to spoil anything, but it's just like, huh? Like if anyone thinks of like close like if, just think about like the Mario video game and stuff, and like the for instance like a castle and Bowser, stuff like that, to where it's like, get your mind thinking about it, and that'll be like, oh, I kind of understand what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And also just a disclaimer, when we all and Evan doesn't care about spoilers, I don't think, when we, at least when I visit in a few months from now, we will be having an episode of just regurgitating everything that we saw and so on and so forth. So
can
stay
you
tuned for that.
can you please come down and do a past member review, because I really want to go again, but I don't want to go alone again.
Yeah, you're gonna. So we talked about this last week. Are you gonna buy me my ticket and I might find a flight down, or
I might have to, because like I said earlier, the crowd level was so low that I got to do everything as much as I wanted.
Oh,
and the day wasn't without its struggles either. I mean, every single ride I waited for, Carsten, broke down at least one point while I was in line.
Oh,
the longest breakdown was only 20 minutes, so not bad at all. But yeah, Mario Kart, super cool. If you're familiar with one in California, it's the exact same ride. The Yoshi's Adventure, really cute, but I have a problem with it. Hot, very hot. Nintendo as a whole already has no shade, but in this ride, you're sitting in a hot, slow-moving vehicle baking in the sun. Really, really cute, but hot. And then the other ride in Nintendo is in the same portal of Super Nintendo, but almost in a different portal of Donkey Kong Country, and that is the Minecart Madness Donkey Kong coaster. And that is the one, the cantilevered coaster that we've been seeing that looks like it's jumping the track. That ride was really, really fun. I worry about the capacity because it runs on 4-person cars.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, it was really good, but that was my longest wait of the day at about 40 minutes.
Okay.
But fun. Yeah, it was good. Nintendo as a whole was what I was most excited for walking into Epic Universe, portal wise, not any individual attraction, but the entire experience.
Yeah.
It delivered on that. It was really cool. It was themed to the nines. The music was playing. The characters were out. The kinetics in the land are unreal with everything moving around.
Yeah.
It was just really cool.
You feel like you're in the video game. You really do.
You really do. You feel like you're transported into the video game. That's the best way I can describe it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Next up was Potter, the Ministry of Magic. And it feels larger than life. It's themed to the nines. The shortest building in this Potter is taller than the tallest building in Diagon Alley.
Okay.
Let that sink in for a second. I mean, like, you know how tall the bank is. Not with the dragon on top, but just the bank itself.
Yeah.
The shortest building in this Potter is taller than that.
Wow.
It feels amazingly larger than life, and it feels big. My main issue with the Potters now are granted, I know that they're crowded, and I know that Epic Universe will be crowded, but they feel cramped. They feel small. They feel tight. Ministry of Magic does not feel like that. I mean, it feels like you're in Paris, honestly. I mean, it looks just like it. The ride in there, Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry, is mind-blowingly awesome. Everyone that I've talked to that has been to this park already says their favorite ride is either Ministry or Monsters. Now, for me, Monsters was better, but Potter was right there. I mean, it's not like one was significantly better. I mean, they are on an even playing field. The queue for this thing, I know I said this for Monsters, the queue in this thing is also larger than life. It is an attraction in itself. When I went in this queue for the first time, I had to go back to Monsters, pick up my jaw, carry it with me, and then drop it again in the queue.
Nice.
It was
okay.
that stunningly beautiful. And it was an amazing ride, a really, really, really cool use of new technology. Won't spoil anything, but the animatronics in there are unreal to the point where when I first saw them, I had to ask myself, is that a real person?
Nice. Okay.
Very, very,
All
very
right.
cool. That land also has a show that I did not see. I wanted to, but the one I wanted to go see ended up getting canceled.
Oh.
And you know what? This is a preview. Nothing has to be open at all. It states that right when you buy your tickets. This is a preview. Things will be broken. Things will not be running.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me think here. What am I missing? I know I'm still missing Isle of Burke. Am I missing another portal? I have to be, right? I've only talked about 3.
Train Your Dragon?
Is that it?
I think so.
Let me look this up.
Well, while you look that up, a little Cedar Point talk here. Literally recording maybe at like 8:30 or so here tonight on Thursday, and it's really cool to see Millennium Force continuing the test. Literally, I'm just listening to you and watching the trains go up the hill and stuff and whatever. So they're definitely working that new lift motor out for sure and getting everything all buttoned up for everything so they get the bugs out or whatever.
Yeah, that's Isle of Burke is the last actual portal to talk about.
Okay.
Isle of Burke for me was the land that, everything else in this damn town is a land except at Epic Universe and their portals. I'm going to make that mistake so many times. Isle of Burke was the portal that I was looking forward to the least. Not because I didn't think they would do a great job with it, but I don't have any emotional connection to those movies. I've seen them. I think they're good, but I'm not a huge fan. Evan, on the other hand, Evan is a huge fan of these movies. It is probably the land that visually blew me away the most. It doesn't feel like you're in a theme park. It feels like you've literally been transported.
Oh my god!
It's a big land too. It has 3 attractions and a show, so it feels like the most complete land or portal. God, see, I'm doing it again. It feels like the most complete portal.
It's all good.
So there's 3 rides in this portal. First one is Dragon Racers Rally. That is like the spinny, flippy ride at the Mall of America. If you know what I'm talking about. It's like a gondola, but it only like a big sweep arm, but it only has seats at one end, and it spins, and you can flip yourself.
I believe it's one of the rides at Carowinds. It's like an airplane ride at Carowinds. That Justin and I rode.
Yeah, it's kind of like that to an extent. So I've been on rides like that before. This one was unnecessarily hard to get yourself to flip.
Oh, okay.
You really, really had to put some effort into it. Also had a pretty short cycle. You only got about 6 rotations and you were done.
Oh, okay.
So pretty short cycle. The next one is Fire Drill. So that is, you remember Dollywood's old Splash Battle ride?
Yes.
It's like that.
Was it good?
It was pretty good. My only complaint is when you're waiting in line for it in the queue runs parallel to the very first target scene on the ride where you can spray your targets.
Okay.
And the water guns can easily clear the fence and just blast the people waiting in line.
I'm sure they can get that dialed in, but
yeah, I wasn't paying attention because it was so the battle at the Ministry right now. The only way to ride it is virtual queue.
Yeah.
And they drop queues at 11 a.m., 3 p.m., and 6 p.m.
I think they changed that though. I think they got rid of those the times just because it was creating a bottleneck of people on the app. I think they just released a sign a few days ago where it just says just look out on the app for times.
Okay. Well, on Sunday when I visited the park, they dropped queues at 11, 3, and 6. And when I was waiting in the queue for Fire Drill, it was 6. So I was on my phone. I'd already been on Ministry once, but they don't limit the amount of times you can jump in a virtual queue. So I was like, ooh, I want to get another one. I want to ride it again. And I was on my phone, like, you got to have fast fingers to get those VQs.
Yeah.
So I was on my phone, stretching out my fast fingers and just, bam, got blasted in the face with
You're
water.
like, what the?
I was like, what the hell is going on? I'm soaked. Like, I haven't even been on the ride. It hit me
completely stoked on that ride, though, right?
You can. I did not. I got lucky.
Oh, okay. Okay. So maybe if you're gonna ride that, maybe if you don't want to get wet, probably get a poncho or something.
Yeah, I'll talk about it. But before I move off of getting blasted in the face, it hit me so hard that it knocked my contact out.
Oh dang!
like
wow.
Anyway, so this ride, you can hit targets that will sabotage the other side of the boat and like get them wet.
Okay.
Or you can hit targets that are like a trap and will get you wet.
Ooh. Okay.
So
that's cool.
You got to go into the ride expecting to get wet. Like you.
Okay.
The fact that I really didn't is a rarity and not something that
is the water like ice cold, or is it not?
It wasn't ice cold. I mean, it was a little chilly, but it didn't feel that bad. It was a hot day out. It felt nice.
As I say, yeah, you're walking in the sun all day and no shade that's tall enough or whatever. So,
and I just want to point out too that it's past my previews right now. As we're recording this on a Wednesday night, it's Thursday, right? Thursday.
It is Thursday. I think I said Wednesday.
As we're recording this on a Thursday night, I'm just gonna read some wait times for you. Constellation Carousel, 10 minutes. Curse of the Werewolf, 10 minutes. Dragon Racer Rally, 5 minutes. Fire Drill, 5 minutes. Hiccups Wing Gliders, 10 minutes. Mario Kart, 15 minutes. Minecart Madness, 30 minutes. Monsters Unchained, 5 minutes. Stardust Racers, 5 minutes. Yoshi's Adventure, 5 minutes.
Wow.
No lines during these past previews. I forgot to talk about the Constellation Carousel. How could I? That's Justin's favorite ride. That's what he's been waiting for me to talk about. Carousel Justin, it's a really cool carousel. Most carousels, you know how the mechanism that moves you up and down is at the top of the carousel?
Yeah.
This one, everything's underneath the ride.
Oh.
It's really funky. And if you sit on the outside, you'll just spin in a circle. But if you sit on the inside, you're on a turntable, and the turntable will spin while you're spinning in a circle.
Whoa.
And there's also random ride modes. So sometimes halfway through your ride, you'll just stop and go backwards for a little bit.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And sometimes you won't.
That's epic.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's epic. Like what Evan was saying when Cedar Point turns on the midway carousel or whatever, and it's like, oh hey, oops, we forgot to turn it not backwards during Halloween weekends, and we don't know how to turn it back.
So I've talked about Yoshi's, I've talked about Stardust, I've talked about Monsters, I've talked about Minecart, Mario Kart, I've talked about Ministry, Fire Drill, Racer Rally, Werewolf, and the Carousel. The only ride I've yet to talk about is Hiccups Wing Gliders. Okay. Now, I have two trains of thought for this ride. Fantastic roller coaster, fantastic attraction. This is this park's Hagrid's.
Really?
It reminded me, you know how much I like Big Bear Mountain. It reminded me of Big Bear Mountain. This is Orlando's Big Bear Mountain. Just a phenomenal family thrill attraction. I was telling you guys, I know you weren't reading because you thought I was spoiling and you were just like, la, 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 I don't want to hear this. Mm-hmm. But I was telling Evan in our chat, I was giggling like an idiot and grinning ear to ear the entire time, every time I rode it. It was just so much fun. It has onboard audio.
Okay.
So there's music, there's dialogue. It has animatronics. It has launches. It has show scenes.
Wow.
It is a phenomenal ride. Stardust Racers is a mega thrill coaster. Stardust Racers is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Stardust Racers is solidly in the top 5 in my coaster list. But Hiccup's Wing Gliders might just be my favorite coaster at that park. Just because it is fun and it is re-rideable and it is a complete story. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just a thrill coaster. It is a whole story with everything that goes along with it. Cannot say enough good things about that ride. Except the ride's queue is god awful.
Oh no.
Everybody is going to pass out in this thing. It is open air, like under a canopy, out in the blazing hot sun, just switchback after switchback after switchback. This is going to be a rough queue come about 11 a.m. when it is the hottest point of the day. If you are going to Epic Universe, you need to prioritize riding this early in the day when it is not hot, so you are not dying in that queue. It is going to be a rough one.
Noted. I was going to say, Stardust Racers, that's not in a portal, right? That's just kind of by itself.
So technically, I mean, you don't go through a portal, but the big like entrance to Epic Universe.
Yeah.
Technically, that's kind of a portal. So you go through it to get into Celestial Park.
Okay.
But yeah, those are the 5 lands. So it's Celestial Park, How to Train Your Dragon, Super Nintendo, Harry Potter, and Dark Universe. I don't feel like I talked about the beauty of Dark Universe enough. The entertainment they have in there is great. The whole land just has that spooky, kind of eerie vibe to it.
Does it feel almost like 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 Halloween-y kind of thing? Does it feel like that? Like Horror Nights kind of feel, or kind of like its own in itself?
It feels kind of like Horror Nights. It has that spooky vibe going.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to say anything else because I don't want to risk spoiling anything. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. What was your favorite land? Or I'm sorry, portal.
Portal. See, that's a loaded question because like I had the most fun in Nintendo.
Okay.
But I feel like Isle of Berk was more complete because I wasn't expecting anything out of Isle of Berk.
Okay.
But then Dark Universe was visually stunning, and the architecture and everything in there is great. And then Harry Potter, like they're all great, you know.
Okay.
But
another one
I will have to say, Isle of Berk surprised me the most.
I was going to say which one caught you by surprise the most, and you were like, "Whoa, holy, okay! I didn't know we could do this with like an amusement park or a thrill park, theme park,
Isle of Berk surprised me the most because I think it was the portal that I had the least amount of expectations for.
Okay.
This park is going to be a killer at night. Dark Universe at night feels like a whole different portal because everything is lit and everything has the spooky, crackly lighting and.
Oh yes.
I won't spoil it, but the tavern, if you know about it, something happens at the tavern, so keep an eye over there.
Any crazy food options that you were just like, whoa, or not really?
I played it pretty safe. There were wild food options. There's something in Dark Universe called Das Burger, and it's served on like a black bun.
Oh.
There are crazy, wacky food items. I played it safe. I ate twice. Ate at Pizza Moon both times.
Okay. All right. I was gonna say, does everything feel like? I know how you said that, you know, the portals and everything are just super top tier and stuff and everything. Does anything feel like it's like incomplete, or they maybe saved a few bucks doing something here, or maybe if you saved a few bucks, doing maybe the restrooms or something or whatever, and they didn't go all above and beyond.
Yeah, so all of the restrooms are way more themed than they need to be. Honestly, the only place I feel that they cheaped out a little bit is a couple of the queues. Like I said, Hiccup's Wing Gliders in Burke, it's an awful queue. The Wolfman Curse of the Werewolf, that's a very similar like outdoor open air queue with nothing. I feel that, God, I hate saying this because it has my favorite ride, but I feel like if any of the portals don't feel like they're complete yet, it's Dark Universe.
Okay.
I think
maybe it's, maybe maybe they know that, and they're just, because I know that area still they still have a lot of land to expand and stuff, which is really cool. But
yeah, they that is also one thing I wanted to touch on quick, is there are a few areas in the park where you can see expansion pads where they will build something someday, and they do not look pretty. There's just dirt and heavy machinery and trash. Like,
yeah.
Other than that, though, the park it's just stunning.
And we were talking about this before we started recording. You said that this blows any Disney land or Disney World or whatever Disney park out of the world, right? That's what you're thinking?
That is what I'm thinking, at least of anything that I've experienced or anything in the States. I was telling people at work who were asking me about Monsters. If you haven't been able to tell at this point, I'm a pretty big Monsters fanboy at this park.
I mean, we only know that you go to Horror Nights like 40 times and buy the most expensive pass. So
someone asked me, well, is it better than anything Disney has going on these days? And I said, Carsten, did you ride Rise of the Resistance, the big Star Wars ride with the AT-ATs and the trackless vehicles?
Yes.
And yeah. I mean, that's stunning. It's a great ride.
Yeah.
I was telling people that Monsters and Epic Universe as a whole makes that ride feel like something that should be at like Fun Spot. Like,
oh my gosh. Okay.
The detail to storytelling and the commitment to an immersive experience that they put into this park is just unmatched. You are not going to find anything like it anywhere else in the world.
That's awesome. Oh, I'm so, like, you just talking about this, and I know, like, there wasn't really any spoilers, which was nice, because I was like, all right, so Evan's going to be out, and you're going to talk about Epic Universe. I don't want spoilers. And you're like, okay. And I'm like, I apologize, but yeah, I just want to go in there with a blank slate. Like, I remember watching the construction, like, maybe 2 years ago, from just like whatever they like people were posting from like flyovers and stuff, and then there got to be a point where I was like, well, I think I'm done watching this stuff, because I'm like, I kind of want to be surprised. I don't want to know.
I was the same exact way.
Yeah So
at this point, I haven't been plugged into anything about Epic Universe in like a year and a half.
Yeah So if you are trying to stay spoiler free, definitely Godspeed, because I know that like a lot of my friends have been posting photos and doing this and doing that and whatever, and I'm just like, hey, scroll fast, like that obviously some stuff is just gonna get spoiled, but like I don't mind seeing like pictures here and there and whatever, sure, whatever, but it's like I don't want to spoil the crazy experience. Like I want to drive into the parking lot and be like, whoa. And just walk up to the end. I know what the entrance looks like ish. I don't know what the security line looks like though. Like that's a complete mystery, so that's fun. But it's like, all right, So
Carsten, I'm the same way as you, and I understand what that feeling is like, because this is our hobby, right? This is what we like to do. This is our fandom.
Yeah.
And I wanted to give everybody else that I'm connected with on social media, I wanted to give them the opportunity to have that experience, and I did not want to be the one to spoil it for them. Yeah. It took a lot of self-restraint, but I posted one picture on my social medias of the park entrance, and that was it. I probably took 600 pictures / videos when I was at the park. I could load up my camera roll right now and just show everybody everything.
Yeah.
but I want people to have the same experience that I did. So I was not part of that problem. I was respectful.
Yeah. No, that's great. It's just like, for instance, like Siren's Curse, like the park's been, posting photos and some videos and things like that, but like we don't know what the midway looks like right now. We don't know, what the what it looks like over there where they're building it and stuff. Like we don't. That's kind of the reason why I bought a hotel room, is because I wanted to be the first to see the the new road expansion and where they moved it and stuff, and I want to just experience that. And there's been nothing that's been released or whatever, so you're just kind of like, so I'm kind of getting a little bit about with that, with the Cedar Point not really moving the cams to where you can see just every single detail thing and stuff or whatever. Kind of a bummer, but it'll be nice to walk around in the park and be like, whoa, that's new. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's neat. So it'll be definitely be something to check out and watch. Speaking of that, next week we're not taking the week off. We will be doing a Cedar Point like preview show for to kick off Cedar Point's brand new 2025 season, and we will be talking about, I don't know, whatever we can figure out to talk about, whatever we can scratch out and pull out, and maybe Cedar Point will release something else or something or whatever, and we can kind of talk a little bit more about that. But it'll just be like a preview of what to expect, I guess, and what we kind of maybe like our thoughts of, like, what we expect for this upcoming season and stuff and everything. Really nerdy. They actually turned on tonight. Like I said, every single night, just always turn on Cedar Point's webcam. You'll be surprised. Looks like they flipped the breaker to turn on all the cool lighting over where Max Air is, where the games are. They've got the cool little blue lights that are doing everything. And they also have the little beacon lights on top of the keyholes, the little blue ones. They have those lit up tonight too, which is pretty cool. But yeah, Kyle, I don't know if you have anything else to add, or if you want to.
I think I'm about talked out. All right, that's going to wrap things up this week. I think I've talked more this week than I have in the past 4 months of doing this show. So that's all I've got for tonight.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Definitely excited to hear all the epic stuff that you got to see. And make sure you rate us and follow us and share this podcast with all of your friends. We love having brand new listeners.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
That's going to do it. Take it away, Justin.
Thanks for tuning in to the Rundown on Fun. Don't forget to follow us on social media for all the latest updates from Six Flags Entertainment. And remember, always be kind to your ride operators. See you soon.